Welcome to Your Broker Room. I'm your host, Sarah Wells. Today, I'm joined by Natalie Smith, GM of Retail Broker Distribution at ANZ. We are so lucky to have you here. You have got global experience leading transformation in the commercial side of the bank, but also working telco, health. Tell me about some of the initiatives that you guys are spearheading in the future of what broking could look like.
Well, thank you for having me today, by the way. It's a real honour to be here, so I'm really pleased that you invited me onto your podcast and I get to talk to you and all your brokers. So look, at ANZ, we've got a lot underway, right? And so some of you might have heard of ANZ Plus, and it's in market. And this is going to be the future brand of ANZ, the future platform of ANZ. And at the moment, it's very early stages for us with that new platform. But I'm actively working with the team on what the broker component of that platform looks like, and it's very exciting. So a big part of my job at the moment is working on that, as well as on our business day-to-day that you all know very well, day in, day out, dealing with ANZ. So we've just launched a very simple home loan for ANZ Plus in market, and that will just, we'll learn as we go. And what we find with transformations, it's always good to start small and learn, because what you think will work the first time never works exactly how you think it will. So we'll start small, but there will be very exciting changes for broker, and we've really done this with customer feedback and broker feedback, and we've spent really the last 12, 18 months delving deep into areas of not only existing pain points, but where the industry is heading towards, and really starting to be really thoughtful about how we build that into what we're going to be bringing to market. So it'll be vastly different from what you see today as you experience ANZ, but very focused on actually trying to respect the broker's time and give time back to brokers, because we know that they're very time poor and they're very busy, right?
So that's one of the things that we had the great opportunity to chat before we started recording today, was really about pushing forward that concept and sort of dismissing the idea that when we start to see improvements in process, it's to support brokers. It's not to eliminate or replace us.
100%. I think we're at the cusp of a really big paradigm shift for technology. And it's not just in the broking industry, it's in every industry. Banks are facing into it. Doesn't matter what industry you're in. Technology, AI, it's going to fundamentally change the way in which we engage in technology in a very different way. It comes with, like everything, change has positives and negatives. And from a bank point of view, some of the AI has, it's going to have some hairs on it as a lender, because suddenly frauds and scams, which people have heard about in the press, it just becomes easier for those people. But actually, when you start building into the same frauds and scams, we actually have better technology to detect them as well. And actually what you can do is start to actually industrialise the platforms that give security, and banks are very big on their cyber security. And if we can share that with brokers, actually it's a very secure way for customers to engage and share their information between a broker and a lender. A secure way, making sure that they're actually served quickly, promptly, and it's really tailored to them. So it's going to give us a really different way of securely exchanging and shaping a more customised approach.
And that's where I think being able to leverage off the infrastructure, the learnings, the technology and the strategy that our big four banks, particularly ANZ, have been developing over the last 12, 18 months is really going to allow brokers to connect more with their clients. And that's what I'm hearing from every single person I talk to is AI is not here to replace us. It's here to enhance our ability for brokers to comply with bid, to be able to show up for our clients, be able to take the time to focus on their needs and help them design roadmaps rather than trolling through data, and being able to implement policies and practices that help us deliver what every Australian wants, which is home loan ownership.
We had a really great example of this is we just had a leadership conference in ANZ, and I don't think that there's a problem in me sharing this. We had Microsoft come in and speak to us. Now, some of the internal departments of Microsoft that have used AI the most were the finance team. And it was the finance team in Microsoft. And what they've done is it hasn't replaced those jobs, it's enhanced those jobs. And so what it's meant is they're much more able to get through repetitive tasks more quickly and spend their time on the value add. Now, that was a really great summary of where I think we can land in the broking industry. And I've been spending quite a bit of time talking to our sort of centres of excellence around AI, what is it going to mean for mortgage and broking in particular. And that's exactly where I see it. It's going to be enhancing that relationship. The core of broking, why brokers have done so well, like it's been phenomenal, and everyone should be like so super proud in this industry. 7 in 10 mortgages are written from a broker. Right? And
they're huge stats.
Yeah, they're huge stats, and one that is not lost on anyone who's, you can't be a mortgagist at all as a lender and not be looking at your flows and going 7 out of 10, this is an absolutely critical channel. And customers are voting with their feet. Now, customers are voting with their feet for a particular reason. It's not because of rate. It's not necessarily product. Product is very similar across lenders. Sometimes policy, depending on a customer. But actually, it's the relationship that the brokers are providing and the advice that they're supporting a customer with in making that home purchase decision. And that's really valuable. That's not easily replaced by AI. That connection at a really critical time, a moment that matters to a customer, is really important. So what I think AI is going to be able to do is to enable more time in those moments and actually help a broker have to not spend time ploughing through financials. That will be easier. That'll be the augmentation to their role. The compliance component will help them be compliant in the role. It's going to make it easier to do those things and spend time where it matters.
Hearing that really excites me, and I really love that you're sharing some of the insights that are going on behind the curtain in a big bank such as ANZ. Where that gives me some great hope for the future of our industry is around, and we spoke about this a little earlier, is I see a lot of brokers that are suffering burnout. And whilst a brand such as yours can't solve that, but being able to see and recognise and articulate the value that is seen in channel and move away from this conversation around channel conflict. It's something that we hear year and year and year. And in my experience, what I've seen is as brokers have continued to support more and more customers and bring more and more customers, we're seeing that investment flow through to third party, where we've got amazing talent like yourself that's able to recognize the value and also know that we're not here to compete against one another. We're really here to make sure that each Australian gets partnered with the brand that's there to support them, so that we're not seeing people churn their home loans every 2 to 3 years. We're seeing a relationship and a partnership start with a brand where they're able to set themselves up for success and pay their home loan off sooner, which is what I think every Australian needs to have. But more importantly, what I'm hearing is this commitment to help brokers not just be able to help more people, but also to be able to be more available for themselves. Because if we don't make our industry more attractive, people aren't going to want to come in and work 60, 70, 80 hours a week. They want to come in and add value to clients, but also still have a life.
And I think a couple of things you touched on there are really core to ANZ. So ANZ, a core of the platform I mentioned, ANZ Plus, but regardless, this is a core principle of ANZ, is to focus on financial wellbeing for our customers. And you might have seen some of our ads on TV. We are financial wellbeings. You can tell me whether you like the ad or not, but it's core to ANZ's beliefs, right? So we want to build products that are going to help customers, like you say, pay off their loans sooner, save money for a rainy day, be prepared financially, stable and secure, right? That is core to what we want people to be able to do. But then for our brokers, we also want the same thing. And so for our business owners in the banks, we have a great commercial business. I came from commercial. But for our brokers, what we're doing is building out, it's our knowledge and learning centre called Brokerology, ANZ Brokerology. But it's not just policy and process. What you'll start to see over the coming 12 months is as we build out business and some of that financial well-being component, what does that mean for a business owner? And there are things that we're thinking about as well. So how do you actually address a broker not just on a transactional level and flow, but actually as a business owner?
And how do you add value? One of the things that ANZ has always done an amazing job at has been data and the use of that business intel. Like whether it be from some of the products you've had in the past where you're able to shape and understand what metrics are down at an industry and granular level, it's really a core competency that ANZ has. So I'm really excited to see what brokerology can mean for each and every broker that chooses to partner and place their client with ANZ. And like you said, setting Australians up for financial success is so important. And to me personally, coming off the back of International Women's Day not that long ago, is this scary stat that the fastest growing cohort of homelessness are women over 55. So the more we can impart financial literacy and knowledge, which I believe is a core focus of brokers, not just placing home loans with the right lender, but ensuring that we set every Australian up for success, whether it be they're restarting again, whether they've come out of, a failed business, whether it be a relationship breakdown, or whether it just be the simple thing that life hasn't quite panned out the way we would like it to be. It's about setting people up for success so they can do better and be in a better position to help the next generation that comes through. So hearing these great developments that are going on just makes me so excited.
So they're being actively worked on. And it is, like I said, fundamental to our beliefs and our values at ANZ that that's what we want for our customers. We know a customer who's set up really well from the basis of financial well-being is, and if we can help them do that, if we can show them the path to being really secure in their financial literacy and understanding, but also the familiarity and ability to use and gain insights from their product about their behaviours, they're more likely to be customers that will want to stay with us, but also stay with their broker as well, right? And so that's really cool. For brokers, I think we've got a very exciting sort of opportunity here in terms of the way that we bring some of the experiences from our commercial business with our broker business and with the platform that we've got, that I think it's going to be a really exciting time.
I love the fact that we're now starting in our industry to talk about the future. We're starting to talk about how we can bring in AI, we can bring in tech, we can bring in other aspects across so many other industries into what is an incredibly personal and intimate relationship between a broker and their client, but also about brands being able to lean in and really meet those community expectations, because members of the Australian public, they need more. They need more than just products. I mean, a home loan's a home loan. Like you said, policy is kind of becoming fairly uniform. We've had a lot of regulation step in. We've had a lot of, changes around best interest duty and also compliance, that we really are starting to get closer to the line across most lenders about what you can and what you can't do. But really where I'm seeing brands such as ANZ really lean into the community is around this financial wellbeing, because having a home loan is more than about chasing a rate. It's understanding the time value of money. It's understanding, like I say to people, it's not the $900 purchase. It's the $109 purchases that can really make a difference. So whether it be your banking platforms, whether it's being access to data, whether it's even being able to feed back into brokers on the small business lending, or even at a consumer level, what the behaviours that you can do today can set yourself up for success is so incredibly valuable and exciting. Anything else that's kind of, sneaking around that you can share with us today?
So at the moment, we're really busy doing building for the future, and the future is not that far away. It's not going to come in the next 6 months, but it's not that far away. But we're really cognizant that we're a big four bank, and with that comes a lot of legacy. And we're really conscious of the burden that puts on brokers day in, day out. So focus this year is a little less exciting perhaps.
But still meaningful.
But still meaningful is to really try and simplify and try and make sure
I'm
that
really hearing that simplicity, simplifying.
Yeah, and just really trying to make sure that we just do better in terms of making that an easier experience. So big goals for us this year are about really improving that experience for brokers. And there's a lot of focus and effort. Recently, we moved into sort of the home loans part of the business, and I think that's given us really a much more nimble response to some of the process simplification we need to do. So that's been a real positive for ANZ, and really great collaboration about everyone rallying behind this as a goal for us as an organisation. So we're working hard on it, and we'll continue to do so.
And what I really appreciated in seeing how ANZ has really interpreted regulation and reform is it's not about putting more layers. It's about having the right checks, the right balances, but also ensuring that we get the best outcome for clients, whether it be around policy, but also experience, because we forget we do this each and every day. An Australian does not wake up and go, I'm going to refinance my home today, or I want to buy a house today and go through all of the stress. So whether it's about getting quicker response to market, whether it's about sharing the right data between broker and bank, it sounds to me like ANZ is really paving the way forward to helping make or flatten the process and really making it simpler. That's what I'm hearing is the ethos.
That's what we're working on. And, are we there today? No. There's room for improvement. Obviously, otherwise it wouldn't be a really big area of focus for us with the level of resources we're putting behind it. But what we do have is great people on the ground. And they are absolutely crucial. I know the frontline teams, the BDMs, really they know the bank inside out, and I know that we get fabulous feedback from them all the time in terms of navigating the pathway. But really the focus is we've got to make this experience better. Everyone's focused on it. Everyone's galvanised around it. Starting with tech, starting with assessment, starting with post-service, starting with onboarding, all of it, the whole lot, right? So we've really mapped it all out, the whole journey brokers and customers go through, and being really methodical about what we do.
So apart from building great systems, processes for brokers and also for our clients, one of the things that I just want to share, and it's a bit of a shout out and a thank you to ANZ. So Simone Tilley invited me through my aggregator to participate in the Doyen program. And at the time I was like...
Do people know what the Doyen program is?
Probably not, so I might elaborate. So the Doyen program was about inspiring, training and elevating female voices. And I probably need to thank Simone and also the other team that sits behind her and all the people in ANZ that helped make it possible. That's why I'm sitting here today, because I didn't think that my voice mattered. And like I say to every guest that comes on, this is not the Sarah Show. It's the fact that someone reminded me that there are people within our industry that have great stories and that every voice matters. And we've had different guests on recently talking about some of the darker sides of our industry where we've maybe not supported brokers as best as we can. But one of the things that I've always admired and respected within ANZ, whether it be at the BDM level, is really investing in people. So maybe you can share a little bit about what your brand and you are doing to invest in your people that potentially can inspire maybe the rest of our industry to do better and be better.
So I have been in ANZ a long time. It's just over 20 years now I've been with the bank. And in that time, I've been really fortunate. The bank has invested in me as an individual and as a leader. And some of them are programs that they've put me on externally, but some of it has just been internal programs, and one very similar to what you did for our senior females. And it's really recognising some of the areas that we need to support people through their careers. We spend a lot of time in terms of mentoring. I'm a mentor at the moment. We often have mentorships. We do it for, women trying to progress through, sharing the experiences that we had. But we've also got them just for talent, and how do we grow talent? How do we retain people? And then how do we also then invest in leadership? We're really cognizant. We talked about change in the future before. But one of the things we're really aware of at ANZ is that the world is changing and very rapidly, and we need to invest in our people. So our people and culture, talent and culture division has spent quite a lot of time thinking about what do we need to do to make our teams, not just the executives or the leaders, but our teams, ready for the future. And we're spending a lot of time in terms of developing and programs. We rolled one out last year to a large group of people, really leveraged some fabulous work that everyone's got access to. We had James Clearing from Atomic Habits, but we've got real streams in terms of data and technology, making sure people are comfortable with the environment that they're going to be working within, thinking about actually how they navigate and manage themselves, what leadership means, all sorts of streams. And it's a really great program, and I'm really pleased that the bank continues to make that investment in their people, because it's really just resilient workforce. It's always it's a changing landscape. So level of resilience and skill set behind you really helps you navigate that well.
I think hearing the fact that you've been with the brand for over 20 years is inspiring, because not everyone wants to stay with a brand for as long as that. I mean, I can look at it, I've done 26 years in broking, but there's been a lot of change there. But one of the things that I found, and one of my most memorable moments, was not only being invited to participate in the program, but the seriousness at which your CEO even took it by showing up.
Yeah, Shane turns
being
up
on
at
call.
those.
And that is one thing that I have noticed is that when I look at organisations that have fantastic environments that support women, and I don't want to always make this about gender, but it is something that it continues to be a conversational topic, is when I look at the leader of the organisation and their relationship with women, whether it be understanding that women do need to be led differently. We are slightly different to our male counterparts, and really where you get that huge value add is not just about having quotas, it's about the dialogue that goes on between the male and female ELT. The conversations, the difference of opinions, but really fostering that culture where voices are heard and elevated. And I think that a lot of our industry can look at some of the programs that ANZ have participated in and also championed to see the investment that you start 5, 10, 15 years ago, what we're seeing out here today.
You have to start somewhere. And so as an industry, we've got a long way to go in financial services is improving. But, the MFAA did the report last year, and it still showed a significant gap for, participation of females in the workforce in broking. And so, at ANZ, and I know other lenders do too, but we take that really seriously. Like we think it's a fabulous industry for women. I think technology is going to make it even easier. I think it's going to make it a lot more, adaptable to your lifestyle and what your needs are, right? And I think customers are much more open to new ways of, engaging and communicating as well. So I think it lends itself to a really great industry for a more diverse participation. But you do have to create the environment for that to occur. And it takes a while for that to start to, the seeds to grow and for you to be able to reap the benefits. So, but yeah, ANZ, I can say, look, when I started at the bank, it's a very different bank now to what it was when I started. I've been through that journey. I had my children through the bank. Like I've seen the bank evolve in its policies and its support for people. But as an organisation, I think it's fabulous and I couldn't be prouder, right? So of what I see now compared to when I joined, I think we've had a CEO who's really fostered that and put the right support in place through programs, policies, etc.
And hearing you talk about the fact that a lot of what's going on behind the curtain, as I call it in Bankland, is really about supporting and building a stronger industry, whether it be for women to be able to work through their pregnancies and child raising years, that can sort of look to foster and combat, female superannuation levels, financial independence, all of these little things that we think that may or may not matter when we're doing it can have those huge compounding efforts and impacts over 5 or 10 years. And I think that's one of the most exciting things that I continue to hear from each and every guest I have on the show, is that our industry has a bright future. There are a few things we need to change, but it's really about attracting the right talent and providing the right infrastructure, support, tech and environment, and most importantly, culture, so that the right people come in and they stay.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. I think the future is very bright for broking. I think it's an exciting time. I think the future's going to, they say
It's uncertain.
They say history, doesn't repeat itself, it rhymes. And so I think, you'll see things that look very similar, but I think it's going to be a different version of, right? So clients will want support, they'll want relationship. That's not going to change.
They'll want the way we deepening of the relationship.
But the way we provide it, the way we exchange information, and all that will look similar. Same types of things are going to be required. Like lending has been around for hundreds, thousands of years. We've been doing it for a long time. It's not new. But the value continue to be better at it all the time, and the way we exchange information is going to continue to change. So I think it's going to be a rhyme. It's going to be exciting.
Look, it definitely sounds like 2024 and beyond is going to be an exciting, bright and amazing future for broking. Thank you so much for taking the time to come in, share your insights and really be on the journey with us. I really appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. Like I said, the transformation is coming. I mean, it's all going to be very different, I think, as we move forward beyond 2024. And I'm excited, so I really appreciate you having me in.
Thank you.